Good afternoon and welcome to today's 4-H record book review. Today we're going to look a little bit into the elements that go into leadership for our record book. And when we talk about leadership, what we're talking about is elements that our youth do to teach, to expand and be leaders in their community, but not just as an elected leader, but as a perceived leader in their community. And so I want to go through a little bit of what elements of leadership look like for them to put into their record books, as well as the levels that we report at. And as you can see, we're looking at what you did to lead or teach others in 4-H. And that could be related to your project work, but it could also be serving as a mentor to a younger person as well. Our 4-Hers are encouraged to take on leadership roles, not only at the local level within their club, but also beyond that to the county, area, district, state, regional, even national leadership roles as they progress through their 4-H careers. The important thing to remember when reporting leadership work is to always put an asterisk next to those experiences that relate to not only their main project, but to any project work they want to do. We want to see leadership activities in all regions of their 4-H work. And where they report this is going to be in section 2 of their leadership guide form under leadership experiences. And again, remember, we're looking at all different levels of leadership, and place a asterisk next to, it says main, but we want all project work. When they're reporting this leadership, we're thinking of things like planning, leading, teaching, conducting, organizing, all these different little elements that go into being a leader. And when you're reporting that, use leadership words to describe what they're doing. They planned an activity, or they organized a committee. They taught a lesson on poultry management. One of my 4-H leaders when I was in the county sat down and taught how to spot train a chicken, hypnotizing a chicken. Little things like that. Those are elements where he was leading that lesson to myself and to others. The other thing we do in these is that we're going to put down how many people they reached. So these could be one-on-one mentoring type elements, but they could also be to larger groups, looking at, clubs or multiple clubs. And we want to go beyond their club areas. The judges are going to be looking at where they are doing those programs. Always remember, we have resources available on our website under the youth section. For instance, here is one on action words. So when they're reporting their leadership schools, they can use this as kind of a thesaurus of action words that we can use in our record book. This QRI code, if you click that right now, will take you quickly into our website where we have all of these resources available for our parents, for our 4-H youth, and for our agents and professionals. So when they're evaluating the 4-H leadership opportunities, they're going to be looking at various elements. They're going to look at the variety of leadership. They want to make sure that you're not just always teaching. They want to see you organizing things or directing things. And so they're looking for at least 7 to get the high rank. But again, as they progress, they're going to get more and more of these opportunities. Just make sure that you diversify what they're doing in the leadership. They're also looking at the depth. Are they just attending or members of committees? Are they actually leading those committees? Are they doing big groups or just one-on-one elements? I want to see them reaching broader audiences as they progress in their leadership. And they're looking at more roles. So stepping up and taking the leadership and, say, leading the pledges, but then maybe serving on a committee to organize something, or becoming first a pledge leader and then eventually evolving to maybe the president of their club. These are all elements of that leadership. Now, when we're reporting it back here, these are those educational experiences. We're going to ask about elected roles a little bit later. again, looking at the number of times they presented. Now, this can be project work, but this can also be non-project work. And we're also looking at they're going beyond just their 4-H club, maybe present to the quorum court or seeing them presenting at local civic organizations within the community, or even presenting at their schools on stuff that they're doing in 4-H. These are all things that reflect that taking what they're learning in their project book and expanding it and sending it out and disseminating that information that they're learning. Kind of, I hate to say this from Hope Bragg, but bragging about the things that they're doing, right? And again, we're looking for levels, and this is just a simple thing that they're counting. But remember, they want to see stuff done within their project areas as well. And so they're going to be looking for those asterisks when they're judging those record books. Now then, elected appointed leadership. This is solely what they do in 4-H leaderships. We're not concerned if they were a FFA officer or if they were a student organization officer. So if they were the president of Key Club or of student council, we're looking at what their elected and appointed leadership is within 4-H. And again, we're going to want them to indicate that level with an asterisk. And so you'll see here is an example. They have the 2008 at the local level, they were the club president and they presided over club meetings. So you want to put that in and give that kind of information. You only have about a half a page. We don't expect a lot, but we want to see things like committees in here. We want to see all those elected or appointed leadership roles. We're going to want, as they progress, to see more than just one role or more than just doing committee. We want to see that they are progressing in the level of elected officers in order to get that perfect 4. So like I said, you know, you have your committees, you can be secretary, treasurer, recreation club leader. But again, this is just within our 4-H. And then to continue, we would like to see our 4-Hers expand beyond just that local level beside their club. Maybe have them serve on CEC councils or serve on a teen leader club as opposed to just their local club, and then taking it on if they want to go towards that state officership or even representation at summits and further on up that leadership chain. The other section that comes right after leadership is that of community service. And we want to remember that community service in this element, we are allowing beyond just our 4-H work or community services activities that are done while with 4-H. We feel that community service is something that all youth, and when they do that, it reflects upon them as 4-Hers. And so we want to see anything and everything for their community service, but then they will put an asterisk next to things that they do with their 4-H project work or related to any of their 4-H project work. So community service is basically things that they do to help other people or planning things that help other people, not just themselves. So like doing dishes at home would be a service to your mom and dad, but that's not necessarily for the betterment of somebody in your community. Now, if you were to go over to a neighbor's house and rake their leaves and do their lawn work for free, that is service to them. And so that would be community service. That differs from service learning only minutely. So service learning is more thinking of things like citizen science programs. So if you're doing things like, we have some volunteers going out to clean a cemetery later on in this week, and they're doing that as part of a project learning about history in learning lessons from it. And so it's like a citizen science program. And so they're building up academic skills. They're building up other skills related to their project, and that's service learning. When we're reporting community service, we don't necessarily differentiate between whether it's service learning or just plain community service. They all get reported the same. And so don't sweat what kind of service it is, but recognize that those things that you're doing voluntarily to better your knowledge in something also counts as service. And again, you're going to list those by the year that you do it, and then give the hours that you've done, or if you've donated items, and then put an asterisk next to those that relate to any of your projects. And so, for instance, here in 2009, they did work for a children's shelter donating 5 pajamas. So that's like an example of an item that they contributed. They could say 2010, sorted artifacts, 3 hours. And if that was their service activity they did in the service learning activity. And then they would put, if that was their project, they put a little asterisk in the column next to that. Again, when we're judging these, what we're looking is that we want to see a variety of service activities. We don't want to just see that you're out doing rake and runs all day long, raking leaves. We want to see that you're doing different activities. You could be doing things for the nursing home, for community members. You could be doing service learning opportunities, but we just want to see a diverse, broad opportunity for doing service. I know that in the past we've had people say, "Oh, we altar served." That doesn't get it, and that's kind of restricted to one community. It's great that you're doing altar serving, but let's see you do other elements as well. Again, 5 to more activities is phenomenal. If you're doing a project that's focused on service learning, by all means, we expect to see a whole lot more of that reported. All right. Again, progress shown. We want to see you taking on leadership roles within that service, seeing that you organized a volunteer experience, or that you led for instance, you led a cleanup crew, or you led a crew while doing a service project. So we wanted to see some of that evolution. So again, using those words that are in that active word list resource that we have, showing how you're leading in service. And again, we want to see lots of service. That's one of those things that make us better people. And we want our 4-Hers to have that idea of using our hands for greater service. We want to see that H being emphasized in our 4-H youth. And again, asterisks, any and all that are related to any of your project works that you're doing. And with that, if you have any questions, always feel free to reach out to myself, Hope Bragg, at hbragg@uada.edu, or contact your local county extension agent, and we will help you fulfill your 4-H record books.